Hey guys, so welcome to another Warframe video, and update 22.18 is here and it brought a bunch of new stuff. Now this is just going to be a very quick overview of the update because I need to get this done in a reasonable amount of time because it's my dad's birthday this weekend, so I need to get ready for le party. But don't worry, I will cover everything in depth next week. So the update finally introduced Khora, the cat lady frame that can summon her own Venari Kavat that can be customized like any other companion. You can put mods on it or even change the fur color. However, it is duration based, so you need to use duration on Khora for it to stay out for a reasonable amount of time. Then there is a new single-shot primary rifle called the Veld, which rolls off the tongue about as smoothly as a car rolls off the road after a crash. It requires mastery rank 8, it does 90 damage with each shot, most of which is slash, though impact and puncture aren't too far behind. It's actually fairly well balanced. It has 22% crit chance, 2.2 times multiplier and 22% status chance. Next up is the Hystrix, which is a full auto pistol that can switch between the 4 basic elements on the fly by pressing the secondary fire button. It doesn't do a lot of physical damage, it does 36.1 per shot, most of which is puncture, but it does have 24% crit chance with a 2.2 times multiplier and a fairly low 10% status chance, which is actually not that big of a deal because it is a secondary weapon, so it has access to a ton of multi-shot which does boost status chance. I like the idea of this weapon because being able to switch between electricity, heat, cold and toxin on the fly is super cool. It's also pretty fun to play with. I of course didn't have the time to thoroughly test it, but from the few missions that I did, I like it so far. And then there is the dual Keras, which is just a monster of a dual sword. It does 44 damage with each hit, 25.5 is slash, 13.2 is puncture and 5.3 is impact. It has attack speed of 1.25, which is super fast. It has 28% crit chance, 2.6 times crit multiplier and 14% status chance. You could almost say that it's a bit of a beast of the Sanctuary. No? Okay. And then of course there is a new game mode called Sanctuary Onslaught, which you can access by going to any of the relays, going to Cephalon Cimeris and selecting the I wish to attempt the Sanctuary Onslaught option. This will transport you to the Sanctuary where you and up to 3 other party members shall commence an especially fierce attack, also known as Onslaught. Hence the name. Now this is basically the Endless Tower concept from ARPGs with a twist. The game will pick a random tile set and then generate a very small mission. It's usually 1 to 3 rooms, and it will then pick a random faction and spawn a random subset of that faction. So it's not just gonna spawn Grineer, but sometimes you're gonna get Kuva Grineer instead. And the objective here is pretty simple. Kill as many things as fast as possible, because killing enemies gives you conduit efficiency, and if you're not killing them fast enough and it goes down to 0, the onslaught is over. Now each zone will last 2.5 minutes before the next conduit portal opens, and you can go to the next one and you will get a nice focus booster at the start. You basically get the focus pickup and you can get a nice chunk of focus right at the start. Now there is also a set amount of efficiency stimuli pickups in each mission, and those will give you a nice boost to efficiency. However, the number of these changes based on the difficulty of the onslaught, but also the zone you're in. So if you're playing the normal version of Onslaught, you will start with 4 of these stimuli and it slowly goes down, and by the time you get to zone 11, which is as far as I got thus far, you will only have 1. However, if you're playing the elite version of Onslaught, which we will talk about in a little bit, even the first zone only has 2. Now as far as the rewards are concerned, you will get rotation A rewards after 2 and 4 zones, you will get rotation B rewards after 6 zones, and rotation C rewards after 8 zones. You can see the rewards for Onslaught, at least the normal version for now, on the right side of the screen. It's basically a ton of relics, endo, Khora parts and Captura scenes. Now this version of Onslaught, which is the normal version, is completely random. It will always plop you into a random tile set versus a random enemy faction and you just get random rewards. However, that is not the case for the elite version. The elite version of the Onslaught can be accessed the same way as the normal version. You simply select the Elite Sanctuary Onslaught instead of the standard one. Now while the rewards here are still random, though different, you can actually get peculiar mods in here, which should be mods that are basically just cosmetic. So if you crit an enemy, you will for example plant flowers in them and ridiculous stuff like that. The tile sets and enemies should be the same, and I'm saying should because I've had some issues getting into it again. It was fine the first time around, but the game kinda did not want to let me do it again. And this will change every week, so we can kind of learn the layout, we can learn the tile sets and the enemy types, and we can push as far as we can to get as many rewards as possible and to also kind of compete on the ladder. Now overall, I like this game mode so far. The enemies spawn super fast, so it's just a massacre all the way through, though there are some issues with it as of now. There are some serious framerate issues. Whenever a new conduit portal spawns, it drops my framerate from 120 to like 5 or 10. A lot of people have been reporting crashes on like zones 12 and above, and as I've mentioned already, the game would bug out every time I would try to access the elite version of the Onslaught after my first try. However, that is going to get fixed over time. And finally, there are some new Zopars that you can buy in Cetus. So there are 3 strikes, Sefan for Nikanas and staves, Ravvi for machetes and hammers, and Dokram for scythes and hammers. And then there are 2 grips, the Stung, who names these things, which is a 2-handed grip, and the Korb, which is a 1-handed grip. And that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about, so I thank you very much for watching. As always, you can expect full videos for all these things next week. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.